Welcome to Escape This Podcast, a show that's a mix between tabletop role-playing and escape room puzzles. This is the start of a whole new connected arc. We probably don't have a title for it yet, do we?
Well, no, because, normally I will tell you what movie I've based the arc
Yes.
off or what game. Like, we've had Luigi's Mansion, we've had Back to the Future. I have been cagey about what the theme of this one is, which has made getting a theme song and a title hard.
Well, I'm sure by the end of the episode, everybody will know. And I'm sure we already have a title when we actually release the episode. So look at the title of this episode. It's that. Welcome to the new arc. Every episode, we have guests on to play through a tabletop escape room that Danny has designed. It exists purely in her mind and in the hearts of all the listeners. And this episode, we have some lovely guests that we're very excited to run through a room. We have Justin and Travis McElroy. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
It's us, the two best brothers.
Is this a puzzle? You have to tell me if that's a puzzle.
It is a puzzle, but you failed already. I'm
Oh,
so sorry.
man.
Thanks
This
for
is
having
the
me,
first
guys. It's
hurdle,
been great.
and you haven't-
Everybody has podcasts except you. Our book about podcasting is out in stores now, and we'll catch you next time. I don't know if you guys have a sign off, but we'll catch you next time. It's fine.
So, for people, I'm sure most people listening to this probably do know who you are, but do you want to go through the stuff that you do
We
online?
are podcasting brothers with our third brother, Griffin. He's the youngest one. I'm the oldest one. Travis is the middle. We have done an advice show for like 11 years now called My Brother and Me.
Damn.
We do a D&D actual play podcast called The Adventure Zone that we've adapted into a series of graphic novels. My wife and I do a medical history podcast called Sawbones. Travis and his wife do a etiquette podcast called Schmanners. And then we have other, we've done some like, where we wrote a book that is going to be out January 26th, unless we're past that day.
Well, I don't know
in which
how
case it's
time
out
zones
now.
work. I don't know how
Oh,
time
yeah,
zones
and
work. It might already be the 26th in Australia.
I have no idea.
It might be. Actually,
This episode will come out on your 26th.
yeah,
Oh my
Okay,
God,
great.
that's perfect. Go to your local
that's come out
bookstore and buy
today.
Everybody Has a Podcast Except You. I knew there was a reason we were doing this show. That's our book. Catch it. We'll be referencing it a lot. I'm going to try to use it to solve a lot of puzzles. But no, we do that
just
stuff.
have it
and then we
open
do,
next to you.
I don't know, voice acting and other stuff.
We made a short run television show. Some might call it a mini series. My
Yes.
brother and me. There were 6 episodes before the network it was on died.
And we do YouTube stuff and all the
Yeah.
usual garbage.
A lot of internet stuff.
Just pick a website.
Yeah.
There'll be McElroy's there.
just Google McElroy. It's going to be fine.
I don't
You'll
know
find
if we
it all.
have. There's this manufacturing company that until recently had the Google. Yeah, McElroy Manufacturing has the Google juice. But other than that, well, McElroy Metal. But then after that,
Yeah. And if you spell it with an
Solid
I
number
instead
3.
of an E, I think there's a golfer that you're going to probably find out.
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Oh, let's hope he doesn't start a podcast.
Mm.
So, every time we have guests on, we always ask the same sort of questions, though you've already sort of answered some of them, which is, this is a show about escape rooms. So, what is your escape room experience?
I have done a lot of escape rooms. My friend Adel Rafai and I, we do a lot of conventions, and we both love doing escape rooms. And so we tend to, when we are in a different city for a live show or a convention, attempt to find a highly rated escape room nearby, and then we go and do it, and we drag along whoever we can with us.
Lovely. Now, Adel has been on this show.
Yes.
So, we'll be comparing notes. And I can give you a rating at the end, a better or worse than Adel rating at the end.
Boy.
Okay, perfect.
And Justin?
Similar to Travis, less. I do a lot with my wife. Sydney is much smarter than I am, and we have done a lot of escape rooms in our area and when we're traveling out and about. And obviously haven't done one for a little bit with the ongoing unpleasantness. But yeah, a fair number, around a dozen.
A dozen. See, that'll be fine.
And
You'll
then
do fine.
And then the second question we ask people, the one that you've already semi-answered, is, because we're a cross between escape rooms and tabletop role-playing, tell us a bit about your tabletop role-playing experience.
It's a lot. Man, we could be funny here and say none, but it's too
That'd be
much.
funny. So we've done, I guess, 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how you count it, different like storylines in Dungeons and Dragons, and then we've done other games in other game systems for the Adventure Zone. Things like what's the one, Trav?
Honey Heist?
No. What Fate? The Fate system.
Fate. We did the Fate system.
We've created some. I created one called Lords of Crunch that's based on Lasers
Cereal.
and Feelings.
Oh.
And we've done Lasers and Feelings games. Yeah, we've done a lot of tabletop.
We
games.
created another one from scratch called Dadlands, and another one called
that's
Four
right.
Sherlock Holmeses and a Vampire, who is one of the aforementioned vampires, I believe is the full title.
4 Sherlock Holmes and a vampire who is one of the aforementioned Sherlock Holmeses.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about 4 different Sherlock Holmeses solving a mystery, and one of them is a Dracula. And
That one
you have
was a hell of an experience.
Yeah.
That was quite a listen.
now we actually didn't create that game. We just conceptualized it.
Yeah. We didn't develop it.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be very much like those, except simultaneously more and fewer rules. Fewer rules in that there really aren't any. More in that I can say no a lot more than a regular GM can.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we ready to get going?
Yes.
yeah.
We are ready to get going.
Do you have a pen or pencil and paper?
I have my favorite writing utensil, the Sharpie, which is the least.
Oh, lovely.
Because you know what? If I'm going to commit to something, I'm committing wholeheartedly with this Sharpie.
Yes.
You are much better at this than some of our friends who, and quote, do not have paper in their houses.
Oh,
yes,
really?
that has been an issue before.
All
All right.
Let's get started. You give your game master an apologetic smile. I'm sure they'll be here soon. The GM, whose name badge says Brian, nods without really looking at you, and, well, you know he's heard this 1,000 times. You've never felt more uncomfortable sitting alone on an escape room lobby couch. No sounds except your own awkward attempts at conversation and the clock ticking your allotted time away. And you're not even allowed to start because your 2 teammates have not arrived. You resist the urge to bite your nails. Your mother did everything she could to rid you of the nervous habit when you were a teenager, always telling you how ugly it made your hands look, but the compulsion is still there. If they take much longer, you definitely won't finish, Brian warns. You wish he had another team to watch on his monitors so you didn't feel so judged. You're the one here on time. He should know you're the good one in your team. You are 12 minutes into your booking. And then the chimes above the door ring, and your team steps through. Whew.
We kill
Goes
Brian.
relaxed.
Yeah. I stab Brian. I don't like Brian.
Oh, Brian's dead.
Brian's a demon.
Ah.
Go on. Continue from there.
Understood. Okay, we can make this work.
You have solved my puzzle. There is no escape room. Only the fires of hell.
So your team walks in, and they are as relaxed as can be. They even stopped for coffee. They've got Jim Gorton coffee cups in their hands. And you want to snap at them. You want to yell that they're ruining the experience before it even begins. But you can't. Of course you can't. Because one of them is your boss. You're here at Escape is Impossible for a work-mandated team-building exercise, and you were lucky enough to randomly draw Mr. Howe as a teammate. And the other one joining you is Ginny, who works in sourcing, with whom you've spoken maybe 3 times in your 6 years at the news station. Both of them study your expression, searching for some sign that you're annoyed with them. But no way. You plaster a big smile on your face. You won't give them anything that means they could put "not a team player" on your next evaluation. At long last, the struggling to survive Brian gives his opening spiel,
Bleeding from stab wounds.
Yeah.
mercifully truncated.
You can bring
Okay,
him
okay.
back from the dead if you want to make him a zombie. That's fine.
Oh man, gotta do my zombie voice now. I haven't
Which,
practiced.
you have a zombie voice?
Oh boy, going back a few years. This room is Alice Through the Looking Glass themed. You have a goal. It's to slay the Jabberwocky. He's been terrorizing the inhabitants of the land. Now, don't break stuff, don't climb on furniture, etc., etc. And yeah, he says etc., etc. And the room sounds like it could be cool, and it's got really good ratings, but now you're gonna have to rush it. Ginny's already checking her watch, like now she's in a hurry. So the 3 of you get ushered into the Alice room, and oh, it's so pretty! Oh, the whole floor has a chessboard pattern. The entire north wall opposite where you entered is a mirror. There are 2 large fake trees side by side in the middle of the room. A dining table against the right wall.
The east?
East.
That, yes. I interchange them.
Okay, got
just to keep you on your toes. And a waist-high cabinet on the left wall. There's something big and round on top of that left wall cabinet. And, it's a Humpty Dumpty doll. You turn around and you see 3 clocks above the door. Over in the bottom left corner, the southwest corner, there is a torn poster stuck to the wall. Brian haggardly closes the door and wishes you luck.
Sweet.
Says Ginny.
Someone help me climb one of those trees. I think there's something hidden in the light fixture.
And meanwhile, your boss, Mr. Howe, is already exploring extremely intently. In fact, he's down on all fours, and he's not only touching everything, he also seems to be sniffing things. You have a feeling this is going to be a long 48 minutes. And now you can start asking questions.
What time are the clocks set to?
You take a look at those clocks. So they're all 3 clocks, high but not unreachable. You have to look pretty closely to see exactly what they're set to. The first one, 11:14.
Is it digital or analog?
Analog.
Okay.
Now the third one is set to 5:19. The middle one, it's not set to anything. Its hands have been removed and are sitting on top of it. And Ginny sees you looking at that middle clock.
Oh, sweet. Can you reach those hands? Bet I could pick some locks with them.
You ignore her.
Oh, come on.
Can I kill Jenny? Not yet. I'll save that.
No more killing.
You put your weapons in the locker at the start.
They make you put them away. Your phone, your swords.
It's a problem with Australian escape rooms. That would never happen in an American escape room. Everybody gets their weapons.
Oh, incidentally, I should probably specify, you 2 are merged into one being for this room.
Okay, I see.
My dreams have come true.
Now, Justin, you ask a question.
I'm just going to start doing things. I'm going to take the hands
Great.
off the clock.
Inventory.
Yeah, great. Okay. I have 2 clock hands.
Try putting the hands at 9:23.
Okay, I do that.
Ooh.
Or
Why
excuse me,
9:23?
9:24.
Ooh, why 9:24?
Well, nope. All of that's wrong. Hold on. 11:24.
11:24.
Why 11:24?
Well, the difference between 11:14 and 5:19 is 6 hours and 5 minutes. So I wanted to add another 6 hours and 5 minutes to the middle clock
Ugh,
to make that the third time.
crafty. You do that, and as far as you can tell, nothing happens.
Good gravy.
Okay.
Good thought, Trav.
What can you tell us about the ripped poster?
So that poster, or the top half of it anyway, the bottom is all ripped away. It looks like it's designed to look like 100-year-old propaganda. It's got bold black font, and it's got the words, "Prostrate yourself before the Red Queen." And there is an image of the Red Queen chess pieces, carved, painted face, looking out over something. Her subjects, her lands, whatever is in the bottom half of the poster that you can't see. You stretch your mind a bit to remember, okay, wait, hold on. What was in Alice in Wonderland? What was in Alice Through the Looking Glass? Looking Glass, yeah, that was the chess one. Okay, what was in that one?
Oh, I hope we're not supposed to know. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
No.
All good.
I'm going to open the cabinet.
So this is a very pretty cabinet. Sort of reminds you of like where the minibar would be in the fanciest hotels. Humpty Dumpty's legs hang over the front, and the whole thing, sadly, is locked with a small padlock.
I am going to knock Humpty off the top. I want him to
More than fair.
have him a great fall.
So, as you swipe him aside, actually, as you do that, before you look back at him, just on the wall behind where Humpty was sitting, you see a little tiny camera, presumably one that the GM, Brian, is watching you through.
Or would be, were he alive.
Where the spirit of Brian can
Yeah.
observe you.
All right, now that Humpty Dumpty that you knocked over, it lands on the floor with a bit of a clunk, but he doesn't shatter. And you're a little bit surprised at that looking at him closely because you can see and feel little lines all over him. He is a 3D puzzle. And you do see there are a few pieces on his back missing. There are some colourful words printed on there with some gaps due to those missing pieces, but there aren't many, so you could probably make it out. And you get started, but you don't even get through the first word before you feel someone's breath on your neck.
Oh, what's this?
It's Mr. Howe.
Oh, a good old-fashioned jigsaw. Well, I'm quite an expert, you know. Come now, let's start all over again and do it together.
And before you can protest, he picks up Humpty Dumpty and doesn't just knock him to the floor, actively smashes him onto the floor. And all of the carefully, purposefully placed pieces of the jigsaw that were meant to make this an easy puzzle are now scattered over the floor. You scream internally, and you walk away before you might say something to your boss that you regret. And you know what? He can do it. Whatever. Maybe by the time you find those missing pieces, he'll have undone his own damage. So for now, maybe it's best to keep looking at other things before he and Ginny get their hands on them too. Who knows what damage they've already done.
Travis, it's your turn. No, wait, you just knocked Humpty Dumpty down.
Yeah, no.
I want to investigate those two trees a little bit more.
All right, so they're clearly styrofoam, but they're pretty well made, considering. They look like big oaks and they stretch almost all the way to the ceiling. There's something a little uncanny about them, and you can't quite put your finger on it. Oh, but no, that's it. They're identical. 100% identical twin trees. They have the same positioning of branches, same cracks near the roots, even the same huge hollow in the trunks. Ooh, and there is something hanging over the highest branch of each of them as well. A small sign with big, bold black letters that says, "Home of Insubordinate Knaves."
Can we look in the hollows of the tree?
Which tree would you like to look in?
I am going to look in the left one.
You poke your head inside and you peer in the darkness. All right, there's nothing at the bottom of the tree hollow. But when you twist your neck up as far as it will go, you spot some glow-in-the-dark letters up high in the tree. They say, "Look under table." And there's a little sticker of a fat little man with the word dumb on his collar. This right. Through the looking glass, that's the one with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Gotcha.
Before I do that...
Well, let's look under the table.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, okay, no, we will forget. Let's look in the other tree.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right. You attempt to do exactly the same thing in the right tree, but this one you bump your head. It's dark enough that you couldn't tell, but it looks like half the space is blocked off by a speaker built into the tree. Maybe important later. There is nothing else in here. There is a little glow-in-the-dark figure of another chubby man with the letters D on his collar this time. But that's about it.
Okay, now, yeah.
Now look under the table.
All right, you get down on your knees and you crawl over to that dining table and you poke around the underside and you find nothing. Nothing on the floor, nothing on the legs, nothing on the underside. What? Well, that's not how an escape room is supposed to work. They're not supposed to lie to you. And this is a highly regarded room. That doesn't seem right.
Is the top of the table affixed to the bottom of the table?
It is, yes.
Look under table. Okay.
You feel confused and disappointed.
Yeah, but how do I feel in the escape room? Okay, put a pin in that. It just said under the table, right? It didn't specify?
True.
But this is
That
the only
is
table.
the only table, though.
I'm assuming. Anything under the legs of the table?
No, this is really annoying.
That is annoying.
Like, you are certain that you have looked at every inch of it.
Okay, can we talk to Brian? I just want to ask, is this right?
Are we doing it, Brian? Sorry we killed you.
You hear through a speaker that you can't see, and it goes, everything was reset correctly in this room.
Okay, all right, Brian.
Hey, Justin, you play
yeah.
chess a lot. Which square does the queen go on? If we're looking at the mirror, like that's the opposite side of the board.
In addition, thank God, I do not require you to know chess.
Well, because
Okay,
we
good.
haven't done anything with the mirror yet, right? And so my thinking is if we're looking at a mirror, there has to be something to do with like reflection or like seeing the other side of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know practically how we would apply that yet, but I'm sure that you're correct. I'll tell you, you know what I want to try? This is probably dumb, but I want to lay down in front of the torn poster and see,
Ooh,
and like
okay.
at that level.
Something in you makes you feel like this is a good idea, but for whatever reason, maybe it's just not the right application, not the right time, you're not sure, but nothing happens as a result.
Okay, so we have the cabinet that is locked, right? Won't open.
Yeah.
We have the poster that is torn.
Can we move that poster, by the way? Look behind it.
You can, but there's nothing there.
Okay.
We have the clocks. You have the hands of which. And it feels like we got 11:14, 5:19, and blank.
Mm-hmm.
There is still a good handful of stuff that you can take a look at closer before feeling like you're trapped in, oh no, there's something I've got to solve and I don't know it.
Can we examine the mirror?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really broad. It reflects everything in the room, every tiny detail. Not that it will do you too much good because it's a warped mirror. Nothing is the right size. Your hands are distorted to the size of beach balls. Your head has the dimensions of a peach. And what's that in the middle of your chest? Oh, no, sorry. It's just a teeny tiny camera stuck on the mirror.
Can I take the camera off?
The camera doesn't come off, but you can definitely look at it closer. So it's quite tiny, but of course it's sitting on this warpy mirror, so it definitely looks a bit bigger. And you also see, drawn onto its teeny tiny side, there's a little gamma symbol. Again, doesn't matter how well you know a gamma symbol, just know there's a gamma symbol.
Can we check the one that was behind Humpty Dumpty to see if there's a symbol on that one as well?
You absolutely can. There is a symbol on that one, and stretching your memory, that's a beta symbol.
Can we take the clocks off the walls?
No, they are stuck to the walls.
Can you tell me more about the table? We just looked underneath it, but does it have drawers? Is it a single piece or what's the deal?
It doesn't have drawers, but it does have a very fancy spread on top of it.
Oh,
So
okay.
in the center, there is a tall platter covered in whole oysters. I mean, fake, obviously, but they look pretty real. They've got everything except for the smell. You do a quick count of the shells, and you see that there are 40 oysters altogether. Surrounding the platter, there are 3 glistening silver plates, each with a word etched into its rim. One of the plates has the word walrus. Another beside it has the word carpenter. And then the third one has the word Jabberwocky.
Can we move the oysters?
Yes.
I want to pile all the oysters on the walrus plate.
Walrus. Yes.
That's only fair. Nothing seems to happen as a result of that, but you imagine that the walrus would be very happy.
When we move the oysters, can we see anything on the platter?
Nothing exciting.
Anything boring?
Like the news. Are the plates fixed to the table?
No, they aren't. You can take and move them around. You suspect Ginny might try to steal one of them after because they look kind of fancy.
Nice.
Is there anything underneath them, the plates?
No, nothing underneath them.
Okay, I'm going to get under the table and then look at the mirror.
There is nothing that you can see. Even when looking in the mirror, you can see yourself. You're super weirdly warped, but it still doesn't seem to be giving you any new clues. This is the worst.
As soon as you get under the table and start crawling around, you see Mr. Howe from the other corner looks at you and gives you a thumbs up and says, "Ha ha! A man after my own heart!"
And just scanning the room from under the table, can we see anything?
Nothing particularly new. You can get a better look at the floor, I suppose. So, check black and white, but, no other pieces except for the 3 of you. So you sort of look around. Ooh, and actually you do notice something about the floor now that you're down close to it. There are a couple of things. First of all, right sort of in the center of the room, right by the trees, there is a tiny camera embedded into one of the black squares. That was super hard to see. And second of all, some of the squares off near the top of the room have some narrow sort of slits in the lines separating them. They're not huge. They might be deep, you can't quite tell. They're definitely noticeable, though, and have an image just to show where those are.
No, I wasn't prepared. I forgot there was an image. I wasn't prepared.
While you pull that up, what symbol is on that camera?
You take a look at the floor camera. It's got a little delta written on it.
Delta. I don't know what any of this means, but I got a lot written down
Oh, yeah.
here.
You're getting the information. That's all that counts right now.
I've just put a link in the chat that you can click and see the image of the floor. And for anyone at home, that image is linked below, so you can click on it and check it out. Unless you're driving, don't do that.
Okay, are the trees climbable?
Possibly. You do know that escape room etiquette and Brian told you not to climb on things. Wouldn't bother someone like Ginny, who has no problem breaking the rules. But you see no particular need to.
Okay, this isn't something I would normally ask in an escape room, but since we can't actually see it, are there any visible things we haven't investigated yet?
Yes.
But like what? If I'm looking around.
You know what? Let me investigate the door that we came through.
Yes.
Always check the door.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's Bill, just jumping into the middle of the show to talk about 3 interesting things. So the first is that Danny and I were just, as in I think released the same day as this episode, maybe a day before, on an episode of Finish It Again. We've been on Finish It before, and we had a lot of fun coming back to do another episode of Struggle Down Under, reading through the Choose Your Own Adventure book set in Australia, but written in the 80s. It's been a lot of fun. So go and listen to that. It's our second read-through with Matt and Chris Yule, the guys who host Finish It, who you've heard on this show before if you've listened to this show before. So go check that out. It's a really fun bonus episode we did with them. There's a link in the show notes below. Another project I'd like to sort of introduce to you is that I, Bill, am part of a new audio drama anthology series that is being released. Now, I don't have all the details on hand, but I do know that you can go and watch a trailer for that series right now. There is a link below, or you can find it by Googling "Someone Dies in This Elevator." It's a really fun show. I do one episode called The Boardroom, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a really interesting show, so you should go and check it out. There are lots of different people who've written their own episodes, including former guest of the show, Erin Kian. So go and check that out as well. And lastly, we just wanted to mention, Danny and I recently played a prototype version of a game that is not fully released yet, called Mother of Frankenstein. It's made by the people from Hatch Escape, who run Lab Rat in LA, which is one of our favorite escape rooms we've ever done. We played through this game and we absolutely loved it. It's got physical puzzles and poetry and weird things, and it's all about Mary Shelley, and it's a phenomenal game. So there's a link below as well to that, so you can check it out. You can pre-order it. It comes with our wholehearted recommendation. It was so much fun. All right, those are the 3 things. We'll let you get right back into it. Bye.
At first glance, the back of the door looks perfectly normal. But then, maybe from when you were under the table, you notice the light catches a section of it strangely. You move around a bit and you realize that when you look at it from a particularly sharp angle, there's some near invisible ink on it that becomes suddenly visible. Some of it's smudged, like someone has clumsily wiped their hand over it. You give a dirty eye to Ginny, but you can still read the whole thing. Just a tiny little rhyme, 2 lines. To get the greatest look at you, from large to smallest I shall view. Okay. And the ink has a tiny tinge of colour to it too. The top line, to get the greatest look at you, is in green, and from large to smallest I shall view is in red. Ooh, and speaking of red, from the very top of the door, you spot a little flash of red. One more tiny camera.
And what's that camera have on it?
This one, thank God you've been missing this one, it has alpha.
So we currently have alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. I'm going to, let's move and look into alpha and then beta. Wait, no. From gamma to delta to beta to alpha.
All right, so you try to take a look. Now, these cameras are super tiny. So sort of trying to peer an eye in them, you don't actually see anything inside the cameras themselves.
I'm not trying to see anything. I want them to see me.
Ah, okay. Well, if they indeed are Brian's cameras, rest assured, he can see you very well. But, yeah, nothing particularly happens.
All right. Justin.
That first part was in red, right?
First part was green,
the first
second
part of
part
the
was
rhyme.
No, the first part was green, the second part was red.
Green. Okay.
You give a sigh, not really feeling like you're making any progress, and you just sort of look over at your teammates. Ginny is lying against one of the trees, and he's abandoned the puzzle apparently. He's back on all fours like he was at the start, just crawling around.
Is there anything under the cabinet? Or is it just sitting on the
There's no
gum?
space under the cabinet. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to try to put one of the clock hands in the slots. See if they fit.
The floor holes.
Yeah.
Yep. The
It
weird
looks
floor
like-
holes, as it says in the diagram.
It would fit more than easily. In fact, you are quite sure if you put it in there, it would be lost forever.
We'd get to go home, though, which would be nice.
Is it plate sized, these holes?
Not plate sized. It's maybe a bit. Yeah,
Do they match any of the things that we've seen in the room?
hand-sized.
They're hand sized? Let's
Hand
reach in
size?
them.
You reach in them, but
Your hand sized is
hand length, but not width, or
Okay.
width, but not length. Your hand will get stuck.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Can you tell me about the padlock on the cabinet?
It looks like it just requires a simple small key.
A key. Okay. Are the hands on the first and third clocks, are those movable?
No, those are fixed in place. They are not moving. They seem to be stuck down.
is this the point where we can start yelling for clues, or where are we at here?
as you're standing there searching at the cabinet, you feel Hal bumps into your shins, and he looks at you and he says, "Come on, we've got to be more efficient. I'm already on my second search of the floor."
Thanks, Mr. Howe. You know, the real escape is the friends we made along the way. Did I solve it?
Yeah,
That was it? Okay, great.
that's it. You're out. Brian opens the door and says, "That's it. You win,
My boy, you've
my
won.
boy."
Don't you tease me. Justin, any thoughts?
Okay, so here's what we don't have. We don't have puzzle pieces for Humpty Dumpty.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
We don't have the key for the cabinet. We don't have a solution for the clock hands. We do have some puzzles, a rhyme.
We have some
We have
oysters.
You've
some
hit the point where
oysters.
you've found like most of the clues to things and most of the puzzles for things, and it's just the solutions that haven't been found yet.
Okay, can we put together the Humpty Dumpty if Mr. Howe abandoned it? Can we do it?
At this stage, you get started, but it's much harder when you know that you're currently missing pieces as well.
Okay.
It's just making it a lot harder to know where things are supposed to go. So you feel that it'll be worth waiting.
So, Trav, what are the most likely things that we can interact with, right? We don't have a key for the cabinet.
Uh-huh. We have the clock hands and we have a clock without hands. So it feels to me like if we could figure out where to put those clock hands, that's where we would put them on the clock. That feels to
Okay.
me like we have the key and the lock at the same time.
Yes.
And the fact that she just laughed in that little wise chuckle makes me think that I am either quite correct or quite wrong. We also have the 4 cameras at the more or less 4 different directions. I think we're missing 1 camera. If this makes sense, if it has anything to do with the actual letters, we're missing E, because I don't think there's an F in Greek alphabet. We have A, B, C.
Missing what? Epsilon?
We have A,
Right.
B, D, G. That might just be it. It might just be the 4 ones. But then what does that have to do with anything? We have the prostrate yourself before the Red Queen. If we knew where the Red Queen was, we could lay down in front of it, which feels like the right thing to do.
Which Justin tried with the poster.
We have 3 plates, 1 for the walrus, 1 for the carpenter, 1 for the Jabberwocky, and a tray with 40 oysters on it.
And 2 highly unhelpful teammates.
And 2
So-
highly unhelpful.
Okay, so
teammates.
gamma is the 3rd letter. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So those 4
Then I look
we
at
have.
then I'm stuck with to get the greatest look at you from large to smallest.
It's-
I will view. Does Brian, does that have anything to do with the cameras? If we go D, G, B, A,
Brian does not respond to that, but he goes, you should maybe use some more teamwork, guys. These rooms are all about teamwork.
okay, so I'm gonna line the 3 of us up from largest to smallest in front of the mirror.
when you stand in front of the mirror, you have to, you try to position yourself in normal, tallest to smallest, and then you have to shuffle yourself around a bit because of all the distortions. But still, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. The mirror doesn't seem to be that smart.
You had that one lead that didn't really pan out without looking under
Yeah.
tables.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, people keep mentioning it.
Because when you searched, there was nothing there.
Okay. Okay. Hey, what if I'll tell one of the other two people, you guys go look under the table.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Howe and Jenny, the sauce boss.
Hal looks affronted, and he says, "But I already looked under the table right at the very, very start. I looked at the table then, and before I moved on to the puzzle."
Mr. Howe, be a team player and look under the table.
Did you find anything when you looked under the table?
As you ask that, he shakes his head, but then your eyes happen to fall on his pants pocket. And you see a curled up piece of paper in this pocket.
What's in your pocket, Mr. Howe?
Oh, well, this old thing, it's just a bit of junk that was stuck to a table leg. Rubbish, really, and doesn't even have any words on it.
What is it?
No, it doesn't. But when he hands it to you, you do see that it has a picture of 3 red figures who look somewhat like chess pieces, down on their hands and knees in a very low bow. Looks like they are positioned in 3 different spots, as far from each other as they can possibly be. They're basically on the borders of the page. This is very clearly the bottom half of the ripped poster. And if you take it back to the other half of the poster and press the 2 together, the chess figures are clearly bowing towards their queen, despite also being as far away from her as physically possible.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Jenny and Howe and I to position ourselves on the far left square opposite the mirror, the middle square opposite the mirror, and the far right square opposite the mirror. And we're all going to prostrate ourselves and lay down.
All right, you order them to do that, and hey, you kind of like being the one in charge. Fantastic. All right, so the 3 of you bow down deep on your hands and knees towards... What were you facing towards? Sorry?
The mirror?
Nothing happens.
Okay, wait, is there a depiction of the queen on the poster?
Yes.
Okay, let's try facing towards that.
All right, you all swivel yourselves back towards the poster, and then a sound effect plays from somewhere in the room. It sounds like it's coming from the right tree where you found a speaker earlier.
I want to use Travis's body to examine that. What's the sound effect?
It is a person speaking.
What's all this prostrating I hear outside my tree? More brainless supporters of the Queen? Ha! She doesn't know her fast from her slow, her high from her low. All her colour is contrary, meaning the opposite of as it should be. Make of that what you will. She despises us, you know. Puts up all sorts of signs to remind us. Do you know she doesn't even know her ABCs from her 1, 2, 3s?
Okay. All right. Now, okay. So where it says red from large to small is actually from small to large. So that's important. Also, we're going to take the numbers from the clock and we're going to turn that into letters. So let's see. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. K, L, M, N, O, O.
14 is not an O.
Well,
Not
sorry.
an O.
K is 11. L, M, N. A, B, C, D, E. 19 is, let's see, N. So we have K, N, E, S.
Yep, those are the right letters.
Okay, that's set the clock to 1:22.
Yep, errant knaves.
So you set the clock to 1:22, which would be an A and a V, making the word knaves, and you feel them click into place, those clock hands, and you are feeling very good about yourself. So you wait to see what happens, and you wait, and then you look around to see if a hidden message has suddenly been revealed somewhere. But no, the only movements are Hal and Ginny, who are both now poking and prodding around at stuff. Oh, man, is this happening again? Nothing's happening. You clearly solved a puzzle. You are certain that you've solved a puzzle.
Wait, home to subordinate knaves is the tree.
Yeah, let's examine the trees again. Any change in the trees?
No change in the trees.
What about
this
the
is really
signs?
frustrating.
The sign.
No, you can't see anything different. This is the worst.
Will the clock come off the wall now?
It won't.
Hey, Hal and Jenny, y'all do anything?
Anything else you haven't told us about?
Hal just sort of shrugs and goes, no, nothing here. Ginny looks a little bit shifty.
Jenny.
Ginny is currently leaning against the tree and rubbing her head, and she says, no. Not at all. In fact, I think this room is busted. Didn't the guy say we're supposed to kill a Jabberwocky? I don't see a Jabberwocky or a weapon. Don't we want a weapon? What, am I supposed to kill it with this key that fell on my head while you were messing with the clocks? God!
Jenny, can I have that key, please?
I'll trade you the key for some lockpicks. Lockpicks! Oh.
Yeah, we'll take the clock hands back off of the clock and trade
Yeah,
for
go
the
crazy.
key.
Never,
All right, she accepts that, but now you're going to have to race out of the cabinet.
we do.
Okay, we
but-
won.
Yeah, she sucks. So.
We're extremely fast. Because
Wait,
we're two people
Yeah,
in one
we're
body.
two people. We got 4 legs, and they're all 6 feet long.
All right, so you make it to the cabinet well before her, and then the key that you have, it matches the padlock perfectly. You swing the door open. Ginny has a bit of a grumble.
Well, yeah, if you want to do it that way.
All right, now inside the cabinet you find a safe. And not only is this a safe, it's a safe with a Greek letter keypad.
Okay.
Your Greek is a tiny bit rusty, but that's okay. Now, not only that, there's some stuff sitting on top of the safe. There is a small pile of plastic puzzle pieces and something else among them. It's another piece of plastic. It doesn't look like a puzzle piece. It's just like a plain triangular plastic shard. Looks like it's been snapped off something. And apologies to you for being virtual, but Bill,
Oh, what? What is this?
this is a small plastic triangle.
Look at this, baby. It's a small plastic triangle.
Small plastic triangle indeed.
I didn't know there were props.
I
I didn't know there were props.
I will say, don't worry too hard about this.
I
It's
hope
the
you don't
meta
have to worry
part.
too hard because you don't get this prop.
Okay, first
Yeah,
things first.
folks at home, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure it's cardboard.
No,
And,
this is expensive. This was made by
This
an artisan
wasn't at
craftsman.
all just cut off the box that our electric blanket came in.
I wouldn't think so, based on its quality.
Let's put together that Humpty Dumpty, sir.
Okay, now let's take a look at this. You ready, Billy? You ready?
Am I ready? It's already in the chat.
oh my god.
Okay.
So, for people playing
Oh,
at home, if you
man.
have a PC
Okay.
on
It's a
hand, you
Real
can
ass
do this
jigsaw
puzzle.
Okay, Justin,
It is, I
you
believe.
keep asking questions
30
and doing
pieces.
other stuff.
No, I can do this.
No, I'm doing
I'll
it.
do the puzzle.
No,
I'm doing it.
I'm doing
will
the
say-
puzzle.
I want dead air while I do this puzzle.
No, Justin,
look, you can
I'm
both
doing
do the puzzle, and you can narrate the process.
I'm
Ooh, an edge.
I'm taking
Now,
pieces.
this website that we've used is very helpful in that once you finish the puzzle, it takes you to a page where you can then click the image and see it without any of the puzzly lines.
Well, we're racing now. I guess now
Ooh,
we're
it's a
racing.
puzzle
Fabulous.
race.
Who's
And
winning?
off they go.
Who's winning?
Holy
Nobody
Travis.
knows.
He's done a lot of puzzle escape rooms.
But that doesn't mean anything,
No.
Justin. I'm barely paying attention, you see?
In fact, Travis, why don't you tell some people about our upcoming book?
Yeah.
Everybody has a podcast.
Oh, well,
except
Justin, it's
you.
so funny you should bring that up. It's a podcasting book called Everybody Has a Podcast Except You, and it'll teach you how to make a podcast that you're proud of.
Oh, yeah? Tell me some of the chapter names.
Uh,
What are some of the different chapters?
nobody knows, Justin. Nobody knows for sure. It's
I think you could. Come on, don't be humble. Travis always does this.
I have a question.
Travis,
Who
maybe
came up
could you
with the chapter
could you
names?
favor us with a selection?
You know-
could you maybe read a selection?
Oh,
from
Justin,
the
I wish
book?
I could, but that's something that you got to save for marriage.
No, that doesn't make any sense in
No,
this
it's-
context, Trav.
I think it really does when you think about it. Okay, I got the bottom edge done.
Now,
Who wrote
wait,
the
wait. Are you
chapter names?
so wait? You're still working on the. I thought you were going to plug our book while we.
Oh, I thought. Oh,
try to
this
solve
is
the
so
puzzle.
embarrassing. I thought you were plugging the book.
No. You didn't think that. We were very clear. I think we all knew what we were getting into
Okay,
here.
I got the top edge done.
Now, come on,
What?
Travis.
I was plugging it effectively.
Maybe you could just
see.
tell me exactly which chapters you wrote in the book and how much
all the
better
best
they are
ones,
than
Justin.
Justin's
You know the
chapters.
funny ones? Those were mine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Writing a podcasting book is a lot like putting together a puzzle, something Travis does very quickly.
That's good. All right, I've solved it, but I want to give Trav a little time because you know how he gets.
I've got the top half done.
Well, that's huge, Trav.
I finished the puzzle. 3/4 get I, the walrus said. 10 served without their shells. And for my friend beside me, just 9 will do quite well. No shells for me, the friend declared. I'd rather eat them fast. And all we leave goes to the grievous beast to have at last. To call the beast towards his feast, a certain noise must ring. Shake the plate with fewest shells, and beastie you will bring.
All right, so
we're going to ignore, because we're going to do the opposite of the red. So we're going to put 30.
is there a way to separate the oysters from the shells?
Yes, very
Okay.
much so. You can open them up and you can take the oysters out of their shells.
Are they real oysters?
No,
or are they nice,
they're very
friendly
good
plastic.
fakes.
Okay, good. I was going to say that's a virtual OH&S risk.
Okay, we're going to do 30 on the walrus plate. What plate is next to the walrus? Is that carpenter?
Carpenter.
Yes.
We're going to put 10 on there. Or, excuse me, 9 on there. And 1 on the Jabberwocky.
Yeah,
And then we're going to shake the
Alright.
plate with the most shells.
which would be the.
Walrus.
Well, tell me a little bit about what you've done shell-wise.
Yeah, so we do. There's on the walrus's plate. We want to put 20 straight oysters and 10 oysters in the shell.
Okay. 20 oysters, 10 oysters in shells. Fantastic.
All shells for the 9 that we give to the carpenter.
Fantastic.
And then the last oyster is going to go to the Jabberwocky.
Great. And where are you putting all those shells that you didn't use?
Back on the middle plate.
All right. And so then tell me, what was your last step after putting everything everywhere?
I'm gonna shake the middle plate.
The one with the most shells. The platter.
The clattering of the shells echoes through the room, and even Ginny stops moving to watch, and she's been like beside you, grabbing shell-less oysters and shoving them in her pockets. All of a sudden, the lights in the room start flashing on and off, and through the sound system, you hear a deep, sonorous, bestial scream blast at you. The floor underneath your feet actually trembles. And not only that, from one of those weird floor holes, the one at the very top far left, a small blast of steam comes out of it. And from Tweedledee's tree, the speaker, you hear his voice again.
Oh, you've done it now, haven't you? The Queen may not know her 1, 2, 3s, but the Beast surely does.
And you understand what's happening. The sound of that food has brought the Jabberwocky closer towards you, and it's now roaming the area under the floor. The steam is its hot breath, and there's another plume right now from the third crack from the left. Oh, it's moving around. You're going to have to slay it somehow, but you don't even have a weapon. What are you supposed to do?
I would like to, on the safe,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to enter the symbols we have found based on their heights compared to the floor.
Interesting.
So the starting one would be, I believe, Gamma, which is on the floor. And then, where's the Delta camera?
Delta's on the floor.
Yeah, I think Delta was on the floor, Gamma was in the mirror.
Right.
Now, this is frustrating. The one above the cabinet and the one on the mirror, it's a bit hard to tell. They look like they're roughly at the same height. So maybe it's not a height thing.
If we look in the mirror, is there anything, and approximately where the cameras are? Is there anything?
Okay. So you don't notice anything new, but when you do that, you do notice that the cameras themselves are very much size distorted.
Oh,
okay.
we're gonna do
So,
the smallest to
Smallest
largest.
to the largest.
All right. So going through that, just as a bit of a quick look. So the one on the door, it's been distorted to about the size of a melon. The one over the cabinet, melon seed. The one on the floor looks about the size of a grapefruit. And the one on the mirror itself, it's just a little more like the size of a grape.
Okay, so we're gonna do G, B, D, A. So gamma, beta, delta, alpha.
Wait, okay. The door is the size of a melon.
Yes.
Oh,
The
melon
cabinet
seed.
is the size of a melon seed.
So B, G, D, A.
All right, you plug that in, and the safe makes a happy little chiming noise. The door clicks open, and inside you find a long, slender, not all that heavy sword.
Okay.
And just as you do that, there's another plume of smoke now from the third hole from the right. Remember where the first ones came from. The first one came from the leftmost one.
Uh-huh.
Then the third crack from the left.
Uh-huh.
Now you're at third from the right. The Jabberwocky is circling.
I'm gonna stab the sword down into the far right.
You do that. You stab down into the far right, and you hear a bit of an angry roar sound, but another plume of steam comes at you from the hole second from the left. You must have gotten the wrong one.
Okay.
Oh, where's it gonna be? Where's it gonna be?
So far left, and then the left.
I think it's second from the right.
You stab your sword in the hole second from the right, and this time, a high shriek blasts through the speaker system as your sword pierces the floor. Then, you hear the far-off recorded sound of a little crowd cheering.
Hey, other half of my brain, how did you know that?
He was. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to look like an idiot, but he moved 2, then 3, then 4, and then I counted 5 over from second to the right. Or second
You're
to the left.
100% right.
I'm glad half
Jabberwocky
my
knows how
brain
to
knew
count.
that. Okay, great. I was told there'd be no maths.
You all,
And
and
then
yet
I think you were
already
told
did
later that that was
3/4 of
incorrect.
oysters.
That's good. Yeah.
That was
yeah.
expunged from the record.
Okay.
You also had no problem with oyster math.
Well, that was different. I love oysters. Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Howe claps his hands together.
Sounds like we did it! Good teamwork, everybody! Open communication and proper delegation. That's the key to success.
Meanwhile, Ginny, she's already got the cabinet padlock and one of the mini cameras that she must have wrenched out really hard in her pocket. So now Zombie Brian steps in and gives you congratulations. Apparently, you had 1.5 minutes left on the clock, which he tells you is really good. Now, you aren't totally sure if he's telling the truth, either about it being good or about you having 1.5 minutes left, but you accept it. I mean, you've survived the room. You think that your job is intact. You didn't explode and vent all at your boss. Oh, you say suddenly, and you realize, oh man, you were almost as bad as Ginny. You tell Brian, I found something in the room with the puzzle pieces. Must have broken off something. And you try to hand him the plastic shard that you never used, and he looks puzzled. Nothing in our rooms has anything like that in it. I guess you can keep it as a souvenir. Oh, great. Plastic triangle. But Ginny looks jealous, so you'll take it. You all part ways and you head home. You open your front door, you greet your fiancé, you go about your evening. And
I'm
absolutely
engaged.
nothing.
How nice.
Aww.
And, well, yeah, and absolutely nothing of interest happens for the rest of the day. And when you're in bed, lights off, you roll over so you're facing the window. Not for any reason, just the way you felt like lying. And you think for a second that you see a flash of red light in the window's reflection, but then it's gone, you fall asleep and totally wiped from your mind.